40. Okay, so we'll start revising the things what we covered in the previous class. By then, let others also join. Then later on, we will continue with the today's session. Okay, so let me just make sure. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Okay, fine. Thank you. So yesterday we discussed about the hydraulic turbines, wherein we came across Pelton, Francis, and Kaplan, the three different hydraulic turbines, which can be classified under three different headings. Okay, so like based on the energy at inlet, based on type of flow, based on the water head. So on all these three category, we classified the turbines and we have understood how Pelton, Francis, and Kaplan turbines works. Their construction as well as the working principle we have seen in the last class. Okay. So this is the Francis turbine, where it will be having a spiral casing and the water will be flowing radially inward, and it is a reaction turbine, which is mixed flow type. Okay, or else state better to state both radial flow and the mixed flow. Okay, so because modern Francis turbines uses the mixed flow category. So here, in case of reaction turbines, we use the draft tube for taking out the water from the rotor to the tail race. Because of this type of its working, that is the reaction type. So we need a proper pressure containment. So that is why we use this outer case, which is not the case in Pelton. Okay, so which is an impulse turbine. So then we had this Kaplan where water is entering into the turbine axially inward. Okay, so this is the axial flow type, whereas this is the shaft on which the hub is mounted, which is carrying the turbine blades. The water is flowing axially inward and striking the blades. The angle of these blades can be adjusted to overcome the swirling effect. Okay, so if you just take a glass of milk and if you just start pouring it into the other empty glass, so by varying the height, you can observe the swirling inside the glass. Okay, so you just have this activity done, okay, at home. You can just see by varying the height how swirling is taking place, whether it is increasing or decreasing. Okay, so that is one important aspect that we need to take care in case of these reaction turbines, the swirling effect. Okay, so higher the swirling, the efficiency is going to be less. So swirling and the angle of attack. Okay, so the proper angle of attack should be maintained by adjusting the blades so that you will get the maximum efficiency. So angle of attack, swirling are the two things, and cavitation is another one which we need to take care. Okay. So these are the few things we discussed in the previous class. Of course, I'm not going in detail into the working principle as we already discussed in the previous class, and we have also seen the video which is showing the entry of water and exit of water and the rotation of blades and all that. Okay. So this is a turbine which resembles the propeller of a ship. So the center rotor is resembling the propeller of a ship. Okay, so these are nothing but the guide blades which are going to be adjusted to adjust the angle of entry of water. This is the actual plant photos and the comparison of all three turbines. You can just go through this video. It will be uh, there in the Google Classroom. Okay. And I just wanted to ask all of you that how many of you not yet logged into the Google Classroom? Yes. So 34 are there. All of you joined the Google Class? This updated PPT is uploaded today in the Google Classroom. So you can just have a look into that particular PPT. Okay. Yeah, this we already discussed how the pressure and velocity are varying as the water flows through the nozzle and through the blades in case of impulse and also in case of reaction turbine. So this we have already discussed in the previous class. So today let's begin the session with an activity. So let me just check in people how many of you understood the detailed classification and the category of different hydraulic turbines. So moving on to the activity. All of you are ready?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
This is very
Yes,
good. Yeah, very good. Is the screen visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
You can
Yes, ma'am.
just a second. Yes. So you can proceed. So those who complete, you can raise your hand. So I will pick them and we'll go randomly for answers. Raise your hands once you are done with all the 5 questions. Is it so tough?
Ma'am, third one is repeated.
Okay. No, it is having both horizontal and vertical. Across also it is there, down also it is there. Just you need to check which answer suits where. All are trying it. Rohit. Rohit, how many you completed? Rohit, are you there? Rohit M.
Yes, ma'am.
Simple questions. Don't take too much time. And wait for another 1 minute. That's it.
I'm completed.
Who's that? Raise your hand if you have completed. Who is that completed? Come again.
Ma'am, it's Om.
Om is done. Okay. Yes, Om, what is the answer for first one?
Ma'am, for down, it's Kaplan.
Kaplan. Okay. So all of you agree with this? For down,
Yes,
question
ma'am.
number one.
Yes,
it is
ma'am.
Kaplan.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So next, who is done?
And
Ma'am,
3 down
second
is
one-
D level.
Ma'am, second one across is Pelton.
Second one across is Pelton, that is tangential flow turbine. Everyone got the same answer?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So third one across. This is where you stuck. Huh? Sorry? Draft tube, correct. So how many of you got this answer? Yes? Okay. Third one down.
D level.
D level. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good. Fourth,
Francis.
Bhuvan. Bhuvan, are you
Yes,
there?
ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
fourth one, can you tell me the answer?
Francis turbine. Francis. Just Francis.
Francis.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Next. Kushi.
Ma'am, how can it be Francis? There should
Yeah.
be an A.
Oh, yeah, which one you tell me?
Ma'am, the fifth one is
Actually, fifth one is
Francis.
Francis. The fifth
Yes,
one is
ma'am.
Francis.
Fifth
Fifth
one.
one is Francis.
The radial flue turbine is Francis. Fourth one, I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
Ma'am, both are Francis.
Both are Francis. Okay, so let me just check with the answers.
The fourth one is not Francis, ma'am.
Ma'am, is it
Parson.
Parson?
It's Parson. The fourth one
Parson.
across is Parson.
Fourth one across.
You can check the answers now. Okay. The impulse is D level, so reaction is Parson. Okay, so question number one, Kaplan. Question number two, across is Pelton. 3 across is draft tube. 3 down is D level. Fourth is Parsons, and fifth across is Francis. Okay. Yes, good, very good participation, but I want still more students to participate. Don't just keep quiet. Yes. Okay, so you want me to go back to the activity to see the questions again? Or is it done?
Ma'am.
Okay. So that is just to make you people aware each turbine under which classification it comes. So this helps you people to answer quiz questions as well. Okay, so you may get a quiz questions like this. What is to identify the type of turbine under which classification it falls into and all such things. Okay. Sometimes you may also get a question stating the application. They may ask you to identify the turbine. Like they may give you the head, means the range at which the water is stored and all. They may give you, and the power generation, the total power output from the power plant can also be given, or some examples of power plants can be given and maybe ask you to identify the type of turbine installed there. So you can just Google these things, see the different power plants like Shivanasamudra, Bakranangal, and wherever in your locality, which are the power plants that are there. You just identify them and see what is the type of power turbine that is being used there. Okay. Linganmakki and all those things. Okay. You can identify the power plant and identify the type of turbine used and what is the power output. Okay, these things you can just Google and see in your free time. So if you go for open book question, you may expect such questions in the test or in the quiz. Okay. Yes, today we will just start with the gas turbine. So far we discussed the steam turbines and water turbines. Now it's time for gas turbines. You know the function of the turbine and why it is used and how it is used and all those things. But here what we are going to use is hot gases which are produced from different means are going to be used to run the turbine. Okay. So the compressed gases are going to be burnt and that heat energy obtained from those hot gases is going to be utilized to run the turbine. So here we are going to learn how the construction is and what are the different components that comes into picture and how the energy is converted from one form to the mechanical output. Okay, so that is we are going to see. So here these gas turbines are used in power generation, oil and gas industries and process plants and aviation. So these are some of the areas where we are going to use these gas turbines. Okay. So of course, you all know it is a prime mover and the role of a prime mover also you know, which is taking energy in any form, okay, and converting that into some useful mechanical task. Okay. In this type turbine, high pressure and temperature gas is passed on to the moving blades fixed to the runner. So turbine in the sense, of course, you have that concept of turbine in your mind, how it will be. It will be having a roller, it will be having blades attached to the rotor. It may have an outer casing. So all that you are already aware of it, the components of a turbine. That in the very first slide I had explained you what are the parts of a turbine. Okay, here also same way we are in gas turbines also. We are having a rotor which is fixed with the blades. So there we used to use steam or water as an input, which strikes the turbine blades. But here we will be using a high temperature and high pressure gas, which is going to strike the blades. Okay. So here we have in a gas turbine, we have these four components: compressor, combustion chamber, turbine, and condenser. So these are the four different components that can be seen in a gas turbine. So based on how the working is happening, how the process is taking place, where the energy is taken from and where it is liberated. So based on that, we will be having two types of gas turbines. One is open cycle, another one is the closed cycle. So if it is an open cycle, this fourth component that is condenser will not be there. Okay. So all of you are able to understand? So, and if it is a open cycle gas turbine, then this condenser, the fourth component will not be there. There will be only the three components. One is compressor, heat exchanger, and turbine. Okay. So if it is closed cycle, then the same working fluid is going to be recirculated in the cycle. So we need to have a condenser which keeps the exhaust ready for the next cycle. Okay. So the fourth component can be seen only in the closed cycle gas turbine. Okay. So let us see their construction and working. So here we have a compressor. So compressor, the role of the compressor, so it is going to compress the gas. Okay, so it is going to compress the fluid inside the chamber. So what happens when we compress? In the compression,
Pressure.
what happens to the pressure?
It increases, ma'am.
Okay, so anything else is going to happen?
Temperature will also increase.
Yes. So when we compress a particular fluid or a gas, so its pressure as well as temperature is going to increase to some extent. So pressure is going to increase and temperature to some extent it increases. Okay. So in the compressor, so the role of the compressor is it is going to increase the fluid pressure by decreasing the volume. So there is reduction in volume and there is increase in pressure. Okay. So the next component is the combustion chamber. So what is going to happen in combustion chamber? The air and fuel is passed into a chamber. The air fuel mixture is then ignited, which results in chemical reaction with heat release. So thereby increasing the temperature further. So the name itself is suggesting it is a combustion chamber. Means whatever the fluid that is either the air fuel mixture or the fuel itself, okay, or the combination of air and fuel, whatever we take inside the chamber, that is going to be ignited. So the combustion of that air fuel mixture takes place, which results in the release of heat energy. Okay. So thereby, because of that combustion process, the temperature is further increases to a greater extent. So compressor compresses the working fluid, means it increases the pressure by decreasing the volume, whereas in the combustion chamber, the combustion of the air fuel mixture takes place. Okay. So next we have heat exchanger. So this is used to transfer the heat from one fluid to the another. The heat exchanger is used to cool the liquid, which is called as condenser. Okay. So this heat exchanger, as you can say, it is present in closed cycle for condensing the working fluid which is coming out. So you will understand it better in the flow chart in the or the line diagram in the coming slide. Okay. So those are the components and the corresponding processes what it takes place in the particular component like compressor and combustion chamber and the heat exchanger. So here we have the three components indicated and it is a kind of open type gas turbine because there is no connection between the inlet and the exhaust. There is no component which is giving connectivity between the inlet and the exhaust. So we have in this open cycle gas turbine, we have compressor, combustion chamber and the turbine. Okay. So let us see how the working fluid is taken inside and how the working fluid will be passed on to the different components and how the heat energy is converted. That we will see. So the fresh air is taken into the compressor from the atmosphere. The fresh air is taken into the compressor where it gets compressed to a greater extent by increasing its pressure and temperature to a smaller extent. So then that compressed air is passed into the combustion chamber where the fine spray of fuel will be injected. So when that fine spray of fuel is injected into this compressed air, it starts igniting. So it will start burning. So the combustion takes place here. Hence, the pressure and temperature increases to a greater extent. And then that will be passed into the turbine. This high pressure and high temperature gas is passed into the turbine. Okay, where the turbine sets into motion. The turbine will rotate. Okay. Once the turbine is rotated, so it will be connected to an output. So where the external work will be done. So part of this energy is given to run the compressor for the next cycle. Okay, that is why both compressor and turbine are coupled on a single shaft. Okay. Next, after running this turbine, the gases were sent back to the atmosphere. So this is the entire cycle. You can see here, the air with high pressure is passed in a chamber for combustion at constant pressure. The products with high temperature and pressure is passed in the turbine to expand and exhaust it to atmosphere. Okay. So compressor is fed with fresh air. It is called open cycle because the exhaust gases does not enter the compressor. You can see, as I told, there is no connectivity between the inlet and the exhaust. The exhaust gases are led to the atmosphere. They are not taken back to the compressor. Okay, that is why this is called as open cycle. Air is taken from the atmosphere, exhaust gases are given to the atmosphere. So it is an open cycle arrangement. Okay, so 1 to 2 we have the compressor, 2 to 3 we have combustion chamber, and 3 to 4 we have turbine. So this turbine and compressor are coupled onto a same shaft, single shaft, so that the energy, part of the energy is used to run the compressor and the rest of the energy is utilized to execute the work. Okay, so this is the open cycle gas turbine. Is that clear?
Yes.
I have only 2 students responding, so I want everyone to answer.
Clear, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Feel free to unmute yourself and tell. So that keeps us connected and that keeps us motivated as well. Okay. So let me just check how many of you are active here. Is the question is appearing to you?
Yes, ma'am.
So please respond.
Yes.
Very simple question. I'm getting the response very slow. Okay, so not answered is still 11. So they are not active in the class. Or they have simply joined the class and left it. So now we came to know through WhatsApp group and answering now. Okay, so for next upcoming polls, you will not get this much time. It will be a very short time duration for short duration. So I want all of you to be attentive and alert. Okay. So it means only 27 have joined the class. Yes. I'm just trying to see the results. Just a second.
RCI will be from 2 February or there will be a change in the date?
I think it will be changed. So I'm not sure actually. I will just ask and get back to you people. Just a second. Some issues with the WebEx. It is not opening the results. Okay, so I can check it later, no problem. Okay, that is the just to see how many of you are attending. Moving on to the next one. So this gas turbine consists of a compressor, combustion chamber, and the turbine. The turbine, compressor, and generator are coupled coaxially. So that is what I told you. So they are this compressor and the turbine, they are on the same shaft. So they are coaxial. Okay. Because part of the energy, whatever it is generated in the previous cycle, is used for running the compressor. Okay. So how it works? So that is whatever I explained with the image. So that has been listed here. The atmospheric air is drawn into the compressor to increase the pressure. The compressed air, which is at high pressure, is delivered to the combustion chamber, and at the same time, the fuel is also being injected into the combustion chamber. So when we inject the fuel to that highly compressed air, so it starts igniting. So combustion occurs in the chamber at constant pressure. The products of combustion, which are at high temperature and pressure, is made to flow in the turbine. So when it flows through the turbine, there it gets expanded and it will do the mechanical work. Because of which the turbine and subsequently the generator rotates. The generator is the one which will be connected to the turbine at the output. Okay. So both turbine and the generator will start rotating. Since the compressor is coupled to the turbine, some mechanical work is spent in rotating the compressor. Okay. So to compress that fresh air which is taken from the atmosphere, the compressor needs some energy input, no? So that energy input is provided from the whatever the energy that is generated at the output. Okay, so that is why they are coupled on a single shaft. Okay, so this is the working of this open cycle gas turbine. So now here we have in closed cycle, we have the added component. So you can see at the output, the exhaust gases are not let to the atmosphere. Instead, they were taken into a heat exchanger. So where they gives off the heat and they again circulated to the compressor. So that is why same working fluid is going to be recycled. Same working fluid is going to be reused in this entire process. That is why it is called as closed cycle gas turbine. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You
Yes,
are
ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
fine.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Fine,
Yes,
fine.
ma'am.
So this heat exchanger, you can also state it as combustion chamber. So you can retain this as a combustion chamber itself. And here you can state it as heat exchanger. So what is happening? We are going to take the air means or the fluid at the first. So the fluid will be taken inside the compressor. It will be compressed to a high pressure. This high pressure fluid is taken into the combustion chamber where heat will be added. Okay, so there the combustion will take place, and that high temperature and high pressure fluid will be taken into the turbine where it gets expanded, and that exhaust will be taken to the heat exchanger which is at high temperature. So it gives off the heat and gets condensed here, and the same will be recycled or sent back to the compressor. Okay, so that is why it is called as closed cycle gas turbine. So other things, other working condition, everything remains the same. So the only change is in this closed cycle, we will be having a heat exchanger or a condenser, which is taking the exhaust gases as input and giving the input to the compressor in the next cycle. Okay. So this turbine
Can we say,
consists.
can we
Sorry.
say it behaves like source and sink in heat engine?
Yes, of course. So very similar to that. I think you have seen that piston cylinder and piston arrangement in the very first slide. Okay.
It's not-
So here you have some. So this is what is the uh, combustion chamber. So inside the piston and cylinder arrangement, okay, so combustion of fuel is taking place and discharge and suction of air fuel mixture or the fresh air. So very similar to that.
Okay, ma'am.
So here in the construction, this gas turbine, it consists of compressor, heat exchanger, turbine and condenser. So the four components will be there. Whereas in case of open cycle, we had only three. Okay, so atmospheric air is drawn into the compressor to increase the pressure. The compressed air, which is at high pressure, is delivered to the heat exchanger. The gas passes through the heat exchanger. Due to heat interactions, there is increase in gas temperature. The high temperature and high pressure is made to flow in the turbine where it expands and does the mechanical work. So because of which the turbine and the generator will rotate. So the part of energy, same as in case of open cycle, here also it is used to run the compressor. And the gases pass through the condenser where it is cooled to normal temperature and resent to the 1.2 and this is the volume at 0.2. So there is a decrease in the volume, okay, from V1 to V2. So 1 to 2 is the compressor region where the pressure is increasing. See the pressure line, you can observe here the pressure line. Let me take different color. So this is pressure at 0.2 and here we have pressure at 0.1. So there is increase in pressure, whereas there is decrease in the volume. So from 1 to 2, it is a compressor region where the pressure is increasing by decreasing the volume. Next, what is from 2 to 3? What is there from 2 to 3? It is combustion chamber. Okay, what happens here? The temperature increases and the combustion is taking place at constant pressure. So it is a constant pressure combustion. Okay, here in the combustion chamber. But from 2 to 3, it is a constant pressure combustion chamber. Since we are adding the fuel into the working fluid, so there is increase in the volume. Okay, from 2 to 3, because of the heat addition, or you can say because of the fuel injection, so there is increase in the volume. Same time, it is a constant pressure heat addition process. Okay, so that is 2 to 3. Then what is happening from 3 to 4? Expansion is taking place. Okay, it is in the turbine region. 3 to 4 is turbine region. So here it is. So 3 to 4 is turbine region. So expansion of the working fluid is taking place. So there is a decrease in pressure with increase in volume. So that is indicated from 3 to 4. So it is decrease in pressure whereas increase in volume. So here it will be volume at 4. Okay. If it is a open cycle, then there will not be 4 to 1. This region will not be there. But if it is a closed cycle, you can have this region. And of course, you can connect it anyway without leaving it in open end. So 4 to 1 is the region where the condenser is there. So again, there will be, as you condense, the volume decreases. So again, this is also at constant pressure. Okay. So this is PV diagram. So is that clear? What is happening in each system?
Clear, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So any doubt? Any doubt in PV diagram?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Oh, fine. So now we have TS diagram, that is temperature versus entropy. Okay, so from 1 to 2, it is the compressor region. Okay, so here because of the decrease in volume, there is a slight increase in the temperature. So there is increase in temperature at constant entropy. Okay, so from 1 to 2, entropy remains constant. So that is what is indicated here also. From 1 to 2 in the compressor region, S is constant. S stands for entropy. So 1 to 2, at constant entropy, there is increase in temperature. So 2 to 3 is the combustion region, which is a constant pressure combustion process. That is why it is written as P is constant. Since it is a combustion process, heat addition is taking place. So temperature increases from 2 to 3. Then again, in 3 to 4, we have the turbine region where the expansion takes place. So the temperature is decreasing and it is taking place at constant entropy. Okay. Then 4 to 1 is the condenser region, which is again happening at constant pressure. You can see here it is 4 to 1 is constant pressure process. Since there is in condensation that is happening, so there is decrease in temperature. So 4 to 1, there is decrease in temperature. Okay. So these are the PV and TS diagrams and the corresponding changes in the pressure and temperature with the volume and entropy. So isentropic. So where I can say isentropic. So in the compressor region, it is called as isentropic process. Means the entropy remains constant. Entropy constant means it is called as isentropic process. So at compressor region, it is called as isentropic process. So what is happening there? So compressor takes in the fresh ambient air and compresses it to a higher pressure, leaving the compressor into combustion chamber. Okay, that compressed air is sent to the combustion chamber. So the work transfers of the system are frictionless and there is no transfer of heat or matter. That is why it is called as isentropic process. Okay. So next is isobaric. Isobaric in the sense it is a constant pressure process. That is in the combustion chamber. So it is at constant pressure the combustion of the fuel is taking place. So that is why it is called as isobaric process. Then again at state 4 we have again the isentropic process because the high temperature and pressure gas is expanding in the turbine region. So that is why it is also called as again the isentropic process in the turbine region. So next isobaric. So there are two isentropic and two isobaric processes that are taking place in the entire cycle from 1 to 4 and again 4 to 1 return. Okay, so these things only are indicated here. Okay, two constant entropy processes and two constant pressure processes. Okay, I hope it is clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let me just check the time. So what's the time? Okay, so we are having another 4 minutes. Yes, so these are some of the advantages of these gas turbines. So advantages in comparison with the steam turbines and IC engines. Okay, advantages of gas turbines in comparison with steam turbines and IC engines. So feed water and boilers are not required, which are there in steam turbines. So these boilers and uh, um, feed water mechanisms are not required in case of gas turbine. So the gas turbines are most reliable compared to these steam turbines. Its weight to power ratio is less. The gas turbines weight to power ratio is less in comparison with the steam turbines. So initial cost, maintenance costs are less because of less number of components. So the maintenance cost is also less. Lubrication system is simple in case of these gas turbines in comparison with the steam turbine. If you try to compare this gas turbines with IC engines, mechanical efficiency is higher in gas turbines. Different fuels can be used. Okay, in any type of working fluid can be used in case of these gas turbines. So no vibration as we see with the IC engines. Here there are no vibrations. Less weight and more reliable. And of course, lubrication is simple. It's the common advantage. Okay. So these are some of the advantages of gas turbines in comparison with steam turbines and IC engines. So I think video will play. Should play. So up to this, is that clear? Today's gas turbine concepts are clear, both open cycle and closed cycle.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Mom.
Just a second, I'll just see whether this video opens or not. Of course, it is there in the classroom also. You can see from there if it is there. Let me just check it. By then, I'll take that. So is it visible?
Ma'am.
No, ma'am.
A lot of gaseous molecules floating all around us. It's great for breathing. It turns
Is it visible?
No, ma'am.
Only voice is coming.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, you have to share screen, ma'am, or YouTube
I'll
screen.
share it. One second.
air. A lot of gaseous molecules floating all around us. It's great for breathing. It turns out it's great for getting lights turned on. It's because air, along with abundant natural gas or other fuels, heats that combine in a gas turbine to spin the generator that produces electric current. If you follow the electricity you use at home or back through the power lines to your local power plant, you'll see that the process
Is it visible now? Both audio and video?
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Okay, okay.
air. A lot of gaseous molecules floating all around us. It's great for breathing. It turns out it's great for getting lights turned on. That's because air, along with abundant natural gas or other fuels, heats that combine in a gas turbine to spin the generator that produces electric current. If you follow the electricity you use at home or back from the power plants to your local power plant, you'll see that the process most likely starts with the work of the gas turbine, the third part of the power plant. First, air is drawn in through one end of the turbine. In the compressor section of the turbine, all these air molecules are squeezed together, similar to a bicycle pump squeezing air into a tire. As the air is squeezed, it gets hotter, the pressure increases. Next, fuel is injected into the combustor where it mixes with the hot compressed air and is burned. This is chemical energy. Essentially, this is what happens in your family car's engine, but at about 29 times more horsepower. Actually, it's exactly like the turbine engines on jet airplanes. The hot gas created from the ignited mixture moves through the turbine plates, forcing them to spin at more than 1,000 RPMs. Chemical energy has now been converted into mechanical energy. The turbine captures energy from the expanded gas, which causes the drive shaft, which is connected to the generator, to rotate. That generator has a large magnet surrounded by coils of copper wire. Magnets rotate fast. It creates a powerful magnetic field that lines up electrons around the coils and causes them to rotate. Mechanical energy has now been converted into electrical energy because the movement of electrons through a wire is electricity. In what's called a combined cycle power plant, a gas turbine can be used in combination with a steam turbine to generate 4% more power. Hot exhaust generated from the gas turbine is used to create steam and a boiler, which then spins the steam turbine blades with their own drive shaft that turns the generator. What you end up with is the most efficient system for converting fuel into energy. And that's your GE gas turbine 101.
Okay. So this is one particular type of gas turbine, this is from GE. So that is how a chemical energy is converted into mechanical energy and then into the electrical energy. So I hope it is clear to all of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Quickly answer your attendance. I hope you know your roll numbers. I'll call by roll numbers. Shall I?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, roll number 1,
Present, ma'am.
2,
Present, ma'am.
3,
Present, ma'am.
4,
Present, ma'am.
5,
Present, ma'am.
6,
Present, ma'am.
7.
Yes, ma'am.
It shrunk. Okay. 8.
Ma'am.
8. Roll number 8.
Present, ma'am.
9. 10.
Yes, ma'am.
11.
Present, ma'am.
12.
Present, ma'am.
13.
Present, ma'am.
13. Who is that?
Present, ma'am.
Yeah,